constantly risking absurdity and death whenever he performs above the heads of his audience, the poet, like an acrobat, climbs on rhyme to a high wire of his own making, and balancing on eye-beams above a sea of faces, paces his way to the other side of day, performing entrechots and sleight-of-foot tricks and other high theatrics, and all without mistaking anything for what it may not be. For he's the super-realist who must perforce perceive, taught truth, before the taking of each stance or step in his supposed advance toward that still higher perch, where beauty stands and waits with gravity to start her death-defying leap, and he, a little Charlie Chaplin man, who may or may not catch her fair eternal form spread-eagled in the empty air of existence. The dog trots freely in the street and sees reality, and the things he sees are bigger than himself, and the things he sees are his reality. Drunks in doorways, moons on trees. The dog trots freely through the street, and the things he sees are smaller than himself. Fish on newsprint, ants in holes, chickens in Chinatown windows, their heads a block away. The dog trots freely in the street, and the things he smells smell something like himself. The dog trots freely in the street, past puddles and babies, cats and cigars, pool rooms and policemen. He doesn't hate cops. He merely has no use for them. And he goes past them, and past the dead cow hung up whole in front of the San Francisco meat market. He would rather eat tender cow than a tough policeman, though either might do. And he goes past the Romeo Ravioli factory, and past Coit's Tower, and past Congressman Doyle of the Un-American Committee. He's afraid of Coit's Tower, but he's not afraid of Congressman Doyle, although what he hears is very discouraging, very depressing, very absurd, to a sad young dog like himself, to a serious dog like himself. But he has his own free world to live in, his own fleas to eat. He will not be muzzled. Congressman Doyle is just another fire hydrant to him. The dog trots freely in the street, and has his own dog's life to live, and to think about, and to reflect upon, touching and tasting and testing everything, investigating everything without benefit of perjury. A real realist, with a real tale to tell, and a real tale to tell it with. A real, live, barking, democratic dog, engaged in real free enterprise, with something to say about ontology, something to say about reality, and how to see it, and how to hear it, with his head cocked sideways at street corners, as if he is just about to have his picture taken for Victor Records, listening for his master's voice, and looking, like a living question mark, into the great gramophone of puzzling existence, with its wondrous hollow horn, which always seems just about to spout forth some victorious answer to everything. Away above a harbourful of cockless houses, among the Charlie Noble chimney-pots of a rooftop rigged with clotheslines, a woman pastes up sails upon the wind, hanging out her morning sheets with wooden pins. O lovely mammal, her nearly naked breasts throw taut shadows when she stretches up to hang at last the last of her so white-washed sins. But it is wetly amorous, and winds itself about her, clinging to her skin. So caught with arms upraised, she tosses back her head in voiceless laughter, and in choiceless gesture then shakes out gold hair, while in the reachless seascape spaces between the blown white shrouds stand out the bright steamers to kingdom come. London, cross-figured, creeping with trams, and the artists on Sundays in the summer, all tracking nature in the suburbs. It could have been any place, but it wasn't. It was London, and when someone shouted over that they had got a model, I ran out across the court. But then, when the model started taking off her clothes, there was nothing underneath. I mean to say, she took off her shoes and found no feet, took off her top and found no tit under it, and I must say she did look a bit astounded, just standing there, looking down at where her legs were not. But so very carefully then she put her clothes back on, and as soon as she was dressed again, completely, she was completely all right. "Do it again," cried someone, rushing for his easel, but she was afraid to, and gave up modelling, and for ever after slept in her clothes. Monet never knew he was painting his lilies for a lady from the Chicago Art Institute who went to France and filmed Today's Lilies by the bridge at Giverny, a leaf afloat among them, the film of which now flickers at the entrance to his famed visions with a Debussy piano soundtrack, flooding with a new fluorescence, the rooms and rooms of water lilies. Monet caught a cloud in a pond in 1903, and got a first glimpse of its lilies, and for 20 years returned again and again to paint them, which now gives us the impression that he floated through life on them and their reflections, which he also didn't know we would have occasion to reflect upon, any more than he could know that John Cage would be playing a cello with melody-driven electronics tonight at the University of Chicago, and making those lilies shudder and shed black light.